Describe in single words only the good things that come into your mind. About your mother?
My mother?
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my mother.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Have you ever been in an institution? Cells.
Cells.
Do they keep you in a cell? Cells.
Cells.
When you're not performing your duties, do they keep you in a little box? Cells.
This causes it. This causes it. This causes it. Information overload. All the electronics around you poisoning the airwaves.
You are listening to the High Tech Low Life podcast, a Cyberpunk media retrospective. High Tech Low Life contains themes and language not suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back, everybody, once again to the High Tech Low Life podcast with your hosts, Eric and Josh, and ... I'm Eric.
I'm Josh.
And our special guest this week is a voice that long-time listeners of Creek of the Week will recognize, but some of you others might not. It is the inimitable Sean Faust.
That is me. Welcome, guys, to your show. I don't know why the hell I just welcomed you to your own show.
I've been welcomed to my own show, and it feels good. Yeah. I like it.
Well, welcome back, my friends, to the show that just began quite a few episodes ago. I'm loving it. I have some catching up to do because I haven't read Neuromancer, and spoilers aren't exactly my cup of cake.
I understand that. I'm the same way. I don't know how I would listen to my own show because I don't like to be spoiled at all, especially on stuff I intend to get around to, like Neuromancer, like, Tron, which is what we're talking about today.
Tron.
So, I agree, and that's a problem that our show has, but you know what? It's one of many, so we're just going to roll over it.
Yeah, it's not the only problem our show has, so look, we can just pretend that one's fine.
Agreed. So, Sean, tell us about yourself for those people who haven't been listening to way back in the COT dub days.
Oh, fair enough. I was born at a very early age, and as a matter of fact, I have never been any older than I am right now. Although now I'm older than I was then.
Holy shit. And now? What about now?
Oh, we're at now, but then we just passed then. You know, it's kind of like I always say, I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl. If I did, I would call her. I wish I had a rabbit and a hat and a bat and a 6 foot what?
It's a 6'4" Impala.
Yes.
Is that what he says?
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure.
A six door?
4.
Oh, 6. Oh, okay. All right. That makes more sense than door. I'm like, okay.
The 6'4" Impala was very iconic at the time.
Too high for this.
Skilo is one hell of an artist for that one song by Skilo that I know. I'm sure I know other things. I'm a guy. I play music. I write music. But most of all, I spend my time with cats. Lots and lots of cats. I have 4 at home inside. I have about 3 outside at the moment. Used to be 4. One of them I rescued, brought to work. He's perfect. He's an amazing little gentleman, about 3 or 4 years old, and he's going to get adopted soon, which usually I end my guest appearances with this. But folks, remember, adopt, don't shop. Breeders, aside from the band, I have nothing nice to say about for the most part. There are some good breeders out there, but not the ones that abuse animals for profit. So adopt, don't shop. I will stand off of my soapbox and we'll talk about a movie that features a cameo from Pac-Man and Mickey Mouse.
It does. I saw it. I didn't see the Mickey Mouse, actually. I saw the Pac-Man, though.
Okay, so the Pac-Man. And if you listen closely, you hear Pac-Man going wah, 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 in that scene. Yep.
Yeah. Before we dive into Tron, though, well, first I want to say, how are you, Josh?
I'm all right. I'd like to second Sean's adopt, don't shop.
I will third it.
Okay. Hey, we've reached a chord.
Well, I think that is an official stance of the High Tech Low Life podcast.
Yeah.
How's your heart?
Oh,
Josh, how's your heart?
Great.
Good. I'm glad.
I just had, I think it was Wednesday. I just had a just went in and had a bunch of blood draws done, and they, boy, took it the fuck out of me. I was a drained husk by the end of it. Like, partially because there were some, I had just gone in for my, like, annual physical, and then my cardiology appointments in a couple of weeks, so I was combining some overdue stuff from the physical, and then all the blood tests I'll need for the cardiology, and they pulled, like, 10 fucking vials out of me, and all my tests were really good.
Well, I'm glad for that.
Isn't there a movie like a Hot Shots or Naked Gun or something where somebody walks away from a dude getting blood drawn and he gets sucked like a balloon?
Maybe.
I figured one of you guys would know it. But
maybe that was Top Secret?
That would make the most sense if it was
That
Top
would make
Secret.
sense.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Now, were you paid enough money for your blood to take Jen Lindley out on her date?
That's a good reference, for sure.
Sadly, I was paid no money for my blood.
You probably paid for the pleasure.
Yeah, my wife's work benefits paid for it, yeah.
I know that life.
Oh, so you did get a date out of it.
Yeah, sure.
Well, that's good. That's good. Did you pass out halfway through your date?
I did not.
Huh. You know, before
Stellar
you guys
season
get
3 talk.
I mean, season 4 is better, but yeah. What?
Going back to something we were talking about before we started recording, my PSA test is stellar. Like, my PSA levels are fucking great. So, I don't have any problems to worry about with my prostate for quite a while, it seems like.
I feel like that's like a tease of whatever we were talking about earlier when you mentioned that and then talk about your prostate.
I mean, what's a podcast
erotic.
without prostate talk?
It's true.
You can't have a good show without some serious prostate milking. But before you guys get started on your show, I have a confession to make.
Okay.
The other night, I was checking out the trailer for the Hulu or Showtime or whoever's remake of Fatal Attraction. And I'm watching the intro of this trailer. I'm like, man, that's like a really good, stand-in for Michael Douglas. I'm like, that's fucking badass. And then, the name shows up on the screen. I'm like, whoa, Josh Jackson's in this? What the fuck? And Debbie looks at me and says, are you serious? You did not recognize Joshua Jackson. I had to rewind the trailer and be like, oh, holy shit, that's Joshua Jackson. So that's a fail if we were on
real?
COTW. Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know J-Jax was doing a remake. I'm going to look this up right now. Fatal. You can listen to my keys type, listeners.
It's kind of like the MCP at the end on the typewriter. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
I'll get there.
J-Jax, Lizzie Kaplan.
Lizzie Kaplan and J-Jax.
Yeah, right?
Well, I'll be watching that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Cyberpunk? Can we get it on the show? Can we shoehorn it in?
I cannot. I literally everything I've been watching for the past 3 months, I've been thinking, can we shoehorn this into the show so I have to do less homework? And I cannot, unless it takes some real turns from where Fatal Attraction, from where the movie goes, I can't figure out a way to do it.
What if she kills a Tamagotchi? Instead of boiling a bunny, which it makes her a piece of shit,
she kills a Tamagotchi.
She kills a Tamagotchi, and then we've got the technology involved.
Stretch.
I think that's a pretty long stretch.
Hey, it's there.
What if Pacey has cyber arms?
I mean, if he does, I'll still watch it the same.
All the better to hug me with.
Indeed. So before we dive into Tron, we have to do recommendos. Does anybody out there watching things that they think need to be shared with the class?
I will re-recommendo something from, I think, probably our first episode.
Oh boy. That's only 5 weeks ago. 6.
Yeah. Just because I haven't watched a lot in the past couple of weeks that I haven't talked about or been on this show.
Too busy being a blood doll.
Yeah. There's some fucking... Is that Vampire the Masquerade invented slang? Okay.
I don't know if they invented it, but it was definitely in use in it.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if that was that or any of the numerous other vampire things.
You spent time on vampire forums in the early 2000s like I did. You would get it.
Yeah. Yeah, just a re-recommendo for Poker Face on Paramount Plus, starring Natasha Lyonne.
All right.
And this last week's episode was really good and had Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Of course it did. It's Ryan Johnson.
Yeah. The weird thing is, with the way he's got a beard, like kind of a scratchy beard and mustache, and the way his hair is in this episode, dude looks, in a bunch of the shots, amazingly like one of Eric and I's favorites, Clifton Collins Jr. Like, enough to where if you just saw a freeze frame, you'd be like, oh, what's Clifton Collins doing? Huh. So that was interesting.
That's not a merging of faces I can imagine.
No, it wasn't. Melissa agreed with me, like, oh yeah, I thought the same thing about 3 shots ago, 3 scenes ago, and didn't say anything because I thought it was crazy. And I was like, no, it's absolutely not crazy. They look confusingly similar.
Well, there you go. I don't know what you can do with that information, but you now have it. I love Clifton Collins Jr., by the way.
Yeah. Hey, he was in a, I think we might not have been on the air when I watched it. A little movie called Trans Pecos a couple of years ago, which takes place down in the region of Texas that I normally work in, so I watched it. It's about, he's a real piece of shit border guard.
Wasn't he one of the dealers in Rules of Attraction?
He was.
He's the asshole on my elbow.
Yeah, he's the
you motherfucker. All right, that's it. All right. And he was also in Extract.
Yeah, and he was in The Stoned Age. That's where I first saw him.
Oh, fuck that movie. That movie sucks.
Fucking Oxtalls, man.
Fucking bad.
It does.
It's not. I remember I rented it when it came out, and I halfway through, I was like, this is dumb. One time, Laser Light at a Blue Oyster Cult show hit me. Go fuck yourself, little asshole.
It's so bad, but it's also it's bad enough that I liked it. I liked it a lot as a kid, and I liked his character, one of the best, because he was always made fun of.
Fair.
Sean, you have anything you want to talk? You want to?
Yeah, I just finished a book called The Deathless Heart by Ivory Kirk. I enjoyed that a lot. I'm not even being sarcastic. I really enjoyed that book. Figured I'd give it a plug.
Notably not a sponsor of this show.
Which is weird, right?
I feel like we should have probably plugged that before this point in time.
I liked The Banshees of Inisherin. I loved Babylon. I enjoyed Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, but we'll get into that at some other time.
Are you guys going to have your Babylon fight?
All right. Do we need to have a Babylon fight?
Do we have to have a Babylon fight?
No.
And I saw Cocaine Bear. I loved it. And I saw Cocaine Bear the other day. I didn't love it. It was all right. But wait, hold on.
It's
Josh, you didn't like Babylon?
Fine, whatever.
Okay, then. All right, good.
I'm excited for this because it means that I get to be the tiebreaker.
No, you know what? It's very divisive down lines, but it's one of those movies. It's a sign of its times. It's debauchery out the ass. There's a scene that everybody's complaining about, but it's kind of like, first of all, musically, the music takes over that scene. Josh, I think you know what I'm talking about. But a lot of people that are hating it, and I'm not accusing Josh of this, are putting today's ideals over something that would take place and be like that in that time period.
Mm-hmm.
The music is a great character.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was just too long
for me.
Fair enough. You didn't see it in the theater either, did you?
No, thank God.
Oh, dude! I saw in Dolby, and the score, kind of like in Tron. It's very rare that you get this, but the score was a character in the film. And that did a lot for me, especially the horn scene, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, there were plenty of parts of it that I liked. I just don't felt like it hung together as a whole.
Fair enough. For me, it felt like a good amount of vignettes. It was like Boogie Nights, but even more debaucherous, if debaucherous is a word.
I think it is.
Well, then I used the gooder word properly.
You used a good proper word.
All right. Well, anyway, so my recommendos, I guess, would be The Deathless Heart by Ivory Kirk and Live Volume 4, 50/50 by Sean Faust.
Oh, that is good. Yeah.
I own that album.
Yeah.
Me too.
I second that recommendo.
Cool. I guess I third it.
I think it was really great, man. Like
Thanks, man.
no cap. I don't know why I said that. not just sucking your dick because you're on our show. I thought it was a really good album.
Well, I just gotta get my way out there then. So you'll be all right. Let's just let that go.
I get what you're saying.
And I'll get what you're giving.
Okay, one more thing before we dive into Tron, because we talked dystopia on this show. I wanted to not shout it out. It's a bad thing that's happening in the world. As of 2 days ago, I believe, in Tennessee, they passed a law making drag shows illegal. And I just wanted to say that I think it's super fucked up and frightening. And not only is it clearly just being made to target transgendered people, it's also like seems to be a clear violation of this First Amendment rights in general. Like saying what people can wear as clothing seems really messed up.
Yeah,
and I felt like I had to say something.
You ever hear of a drag queen like getting the trust of a child and then molesting them like I don't know priests do?
Yes, like the Catholic Church,
like
has
seriously
been doing,
and getting away with.
Like many politicians have been caught doing. Yeah, it's
assholes.
I don't know. It's infuriating.
That's been a running theme for, I don't know, probably about the past 6 months in the FARC headlines, where it'll be something like, 43 people busted for child pornography possession. Number of drag queens included? 0.
Yeah, I mean it's always like some like priest who's like anti-homosexual, or a politician, but it's like you got your freedoms, and your rights to be an American as long as you're a white Christian dude who likes pussy,
or at least
off.
Claims to like pussy,
or at least, yeah, it's true, lies about it, and then like jerks off to little boys like they're I'm sorry. I could waste another 20 minutes going off on those pieces of shit and their families and their mothers for raising such cunts.
On top of all this other shit, it's just such a bad law. Like, I don't know how you enforce it. I don't know where the line is. Would a Poison concert be illegal in Tennessee now?
Probably.
Like, could the 80s have not have happened in Tennessee under this law? Like, where's the fucking line? Can a woman wear a tie? Like, it's such insanity.
Like say, could I leave the house wearing a t-shirt that's happens to be in a woman's size as opposed to a men's?
They're gonna have to check the tags. I don't know,
That's
man.
That's a true invasion of privacy.
I just hate it so much, and it's clearly like the politicians don't actually care. They're passing these laws because they know that their chud followers care, and they just want, the votes, the likes, the clicks, and it's harming people. And I just anyway, I don't know.
Just FYI, for those of you who might not be familiar, CHUD stands for Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers.
This is very true. John Goodman is a police officer.
Yeah, it's also just become a term for far right-wing people who suck.
Yeah.
It's funny how we're talking about all this, and I've thrown out several choice words so far, and we're about to talk about a Disney movie.
I know. I know. It's timing. It has to be. I mean, I'm not saying it because it has to. I'm saying it because I want to say it, because I want to stand up.
No, you got to stand up
people.
against it, man. I'm with you. 100%. You stand for the good people. It's the bad people that go, I want to make these laws to make them their homosexuals. I stopped going to my regular chiropractor because he was telling me about the homosexual gene that they're looking for that makes people homosexual. It's like, dude, you're a Jewish man that grew up in the 40s. Like,
yeah.
And the shit that you went through because of like some master race trying to eradicate you, and now you're talking about like the fucking gene, you asshole. I can't stand these people.
And it's important that you bring that up, because like these are the opening salvos of what a genocide looks like. Like, they want to eradicate LGBT people from open life, if not actually kill and remove them, then to at least force them back underground where they can pretend they don't exist anymore. And it's bad, and we don't like it, and fuck them all.
Speak the word. The word is all of us. It's a Queensrÿche reference.
Okay, Queen. I should know that.
Revolution. Eradicate the fascists. Revolution will grow.
Unfortunately, Jeff Tate went a weird way when he got older.
Yeah, but you know, it's all right because you can go to Mindcrime. It's still relevant today.
It's true. I actually went down a Queensrÿche rabbit hole the other day. Josh saw when he was on a screen sharing and saw my YouTube history, and it was like all pictures of Jeff Tate. It's they fucking rule, man. I've always loved Queensrÿche. I saw them live once.
Same. I saw them open for Dream Theater. It was Fates Warning, Queensrÿche, and Dream Theater, and Queensrÿche was boring. They just stood there.
Compared to
it was boring.
Shit, Josh and I went to probably that same tour.
Yeah, that was the same tour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so you saw Fates Warning in Dream Theater?
We did.
Yeah. So you saw them do Comfortably Numb with Dream Theater?
Did they?
Yeah. They did. We Don't Get Fooled Again by The Who and Comfortably Numb, but like either they alternated it at shows or they did.
We Won't Get Fooled Again. I remember that.
Dude, that drum trade-off was awesome between Rockenfeld and Portnoy.
I barely remember that show, but I remember having a good time.
Yeah,
awesome.
I think I would remember Comfortably Numb if that had happened at the show we went to.
I absolutely remember We Won't Get Fooled Again.
Yeah.
Because all of them went out, and it was a big... I love it when bands do that. When they get together with their opening act and like do some popular song.
Yeah, but apparently Queensrÿche was like... They were a bunch of assholes to Dream Theater. Like, the guitar player was, like, trying to tell Petrucci, like, oh, hey, man, for your sound, you should try this. Hey, when you sweep like this, you should do, like, trying to tell Petrucci, who's, like, leagues above him.
They were Queensrÿche-splaining to John Petrucci.
Yeah, to John Petrucci.
Guys,
it's funny that we're talking about Dream Theater, considering we're also about to talk about Tron.
It's true. And let's talk about Tron.
That.
Let's stop teasing it. Let's actually dive into this.
Yeah, let's get this episode closer to finishing. And for that, I would like to go to my texts with Eric last night.
Okay.
From Eric. How the hell do we recap this fever dream? Quote, and then one weird polygon flew past some other weird polygons toward the main polygon. I respond, it'll be a short ep. Quote, 10 out of 10, Tron fucking honks. Any shots, Thon? Or any thoughts, John?
Hey.
I agree.
And then Eric said, it does kind of honk, though.
It does. I don't know, like, okay, let's do overviews first, because I've avoided Tron my whole life. I always thought it looked kind of silly and wouldn't be up my alley. I always liked my, cyberpunk adjacent stuff, dark and gritty. Only as an adult have I grown out of that edgelord thing that I was into younger. But still, Tron just slipped through the radar. But I watched it. It was weird. Not sure I fully got it, but I did quite like the experience.
Well, that's understandable. I do not remember not having seen Tron.
Yeah.
Like, I might have... It's entirely possible that we went to the drive-in and saw Tron when I was a kid. Like, the same way that I don't remember never having seen The Empire Strikes Back. It's just somewhere in there in my brain. Tron, though, since I don't have any specific memories of going to see that, it's possible that we saw it on tape at, when I was a real... I guess I don't think we got a VCR before like 85 or 86.
Yeah, I feel like we got one really late.
Yeah. But regardless of that, I have very specific memories, and I still own it in my basement in a tub, I think. The Tron pop-up book, which I highly recommend looking up pictures of on, like, I think there are a couple on eBay I saw. Like, it is a fucking cool pop-up book.
Sounds like the making of a great TikTok video. I might have to borrow that from you.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in my basement. If not, it might be at my dad's house. Yeah, I do not remember a time that I haven't seen Tron. And then I think the last time I saw it was probably roughly 20 years ago when one of our friends got it on DVD. And I think I watched it once then.
Yeah, we were watching a lot of movies in that time.
Oh, yeah.
What about you, Sean?
Tron was in my life before I even saw it, because it was just one of those things that I needed to see. So I had the soundtrack, I had the story of record, I had the storybook, I had the 33 RPM also story, like the little story record, where Tinker Bell, you hear the bell, you turn the page. That one.
Yeah.
I had several movies of those.
I've got tons. Yeah, everybody's got tons of these. You got the Star Wars ones, right?
Yeah.
The Black
Hobbit.
Hole, Tron. I have the Hobbit, Mary Poppins. Anyway, it doesn't matter what I've got. So, but Tron was one of those things I was into as a kid before I'd even seen it because it just looked awesome to me. And I'm like 7 years old, like I need to see this. So I knew that score like the back of my hand. That was my introduction to Journey, which still is probably my favorite Journey song to this day. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't see it for like another 2 years, but I knew most of the dialogue because of that story record. Had the pop-up book. I don't know where it is. I never had the toys. I would have a mint. I would have so much money if I had the toys, but I never had them. But man,
I don't remember ever seeing the toys anywhere.
I saw. My father worked at Toys R Us, so I saw them.
Okay, that would do it.
It was a in between gig while he working on a real job, if that makes sense. I don't know. You know what? My father's business is nobody else's. Ha ha.
It's true.
But yeah,
but
no,
let's
I'd
get
seen the
deeper
toys,
into
yeah.
it.
But no, Tron, it's always been there, and like to the point where like when Legacy was coming out, I watched that trailer a million times. When they dropped the track of music called "The Game Has Changed," I was all over that. Probably memorized it before the movie came out, and went to a midnight showing of it because I just didn't want to wait anymore.
Just out of curiosity, with no spoilers, because we will cover Tron Legacy at some point, I'm sure. Is it good and worth watching for someone like me who is a noob?
I would say it's a very worthy sequel.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I watched it once when it came out and was like, okay, that was a movie. I like Jeff Bridges.
I love Jeff Bridges. I love Jeff Bridges in Tron.
Although
his voice hasn't changed at all.
Oh, I know,
he
right?
still sounds like the dude. It was that almost took me out because I've seen Lebowski so many times, and just hearing him speak was crazy.
Especially his rants.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing, going back to what Sean said, another sort of piece of context for the movie is back in the early 1990s, I watched a little film called A Clockwork Orange, which
Heard of it.
Pretty obscure. Pretty sure nobody's seen it but me. Whatever.
Little.
Yeah, little movie, not made by a notable director or anything. And I was utterly fucking entranced by the score to that film.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and that sent me down a rabbit hole, first getting a hold of the Clockwork Orange score on CD, and then finding out that, well, on that film, the composer's name was listed as Walter Carlos. Then there was a little bit of minor confusion before I figured out that the composer had transitioned into Wendy Carlos and also done the score for Tron, which I ended up having to check out from our public library on quarter-inch tape because that was the only format it was fucking available on.
I was reading on the trivia about how it kind of was lost, basically, and they had to wait for technology to catch up to properly remaster the score so it could be properly released.
Yeah, so, yeah, back in... I was on a minor quest back in the early to mid-90s searching used record bins for the Tron score. Which
wow, you guys both have a real connection to this film. It's crazy.
Yeah, I kind of, until I sat down and started thinking about it, it kind of hadn't occurred to me.
It was interesting, like when we were talking to Sean in a group chat about what movie or what, property he should come on the show for, Tron didn't even come up until last week when we were like, we should get Sean on. What should we do? We haven't done Tron. And then you send a message in like, oh, Tron's actually the perfect one for him to guest on, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Probably not the last one either, hopefully, unless we completely piss him off this episode.
Well, you mentioned Bautista, and that you'd probably be doing a movie with Bautista at some point. I have an idea of what it is.
I don't think he was in any influential cyberpunk films. I think
that doesn't seem like a thing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no.
he's so good in that
that's
movie.
because you've never seen A Miracle.
His tiny glasses.
Yeah,
Right?
They're
God,
so small.
And his part is so small. Okay, we're not talking about that fucking movie.
His part is huge, though, to the overall,
I know, it is,
Yeah.
but time on screen.
Yeah.
But
I mean, but he needs because he wants to kill Thanos because Thanos murdered his family.
yeah, we're getting, I think, Batista movies confused, but that's okay.
No, we're not. We're talking about the little glasses and the miracles. All right.
So, all right, should we try to recap this film? It's hard. I mean, okay, what I noticed watching Tron was that it has all the hallmarks of cyberpunk. It's got kind of a dystopian oppressive regime that people are fighting against. Mm-hmm. It's got transhumanism, what it is to be human with the users and the programs. Mm-hmm. It's got technology, but it still didn't feel cyberpunk at all to me. It felt much more like a fantasy or like a journeying, a hero's journey type film. What do you think?
It's a lot less punk than like most of the things that would slot automatically into the genre.
Right.
I mean, because partially like, I think in the beginning of the movie, when Bruce Boxleitner and Cindy Williams go to Jeff Bridges' arcade, because of course he's an arcade owner. It's 1982. That's the coolest possible thing you could be.
It was very cool. I could see my little 5-year-old self jizzing my little 5-year-old pants. Sorry.
Yeah. So Jeff Bridges says, "Don't you look like the clean-cut young couple?" And it is very, like, the least clean-cut it gets is that Jeff Goldblum has like a jerry curl in the first scene where...
Jeff Bridges. I mean, it'd be cool if Jeff Goldblum was in it, but I didn't see him.
Yeah, no, he definitely wasn't. Jeff Bridges has like a jerry curl when he's doing the first hacking scene.
Yeah.
That's about the dirtiest and punkest it gets.
It's definitely pretty low life. I mean, he has a nice apartment above his arcade, but he's supposed to be kind of a, he's wearing shirts from the place he works at, and his couch was awesome. His couch that was just kind of on the floor, so they kind of had to flop back onto it.
Yeah.
It was so 80s. I loved it.
I'm just picturing Goldblum in that role. And it's hey,
I don't think
here's the big master control program everyone's been talking about.
I love Jeff Goldblum. He would not have brought anywhere near the right energy to that.
No, or the charm. I mean, Kevin Flynn is just so much fun.
Yeah. All right, so let's try to...
And also, young Bridges, sexy.
So hot, dude. Straight guy here, but that dude...
Taking off his shirt?
Yeah.
For no reason.
For no reason.
Just change shirts.
Smoke
Like,
fucking popping
I just wore this shirt and won the video game. All right, let me take off this shirt and put on one exactly like it.
I think this is relevant. I was looking through the IMDb trivia, and apparently in the Tron suit, his bulge was too big, so they had to wear like a special girdle to squeeze it down.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges, a fucking smoke show in 1982.
And today.
Yeah.
Just an old one. Yeah. Let's try to go through the plot of the movie. Think we should do
Master
that?
Control Program wants to take over the world. Ed Dillinger's like, yeah, man, let's shut down every single computer in the world somehow. And old guy says, yeah, but, what about the users? Well, business is what computers are for, not the people that run the computers to run the business. That would make sense. And the MCP goes, yeah,
Actually,
let me
business is
throw some
boring.
shit at you. Well, business, I mean, because he stole And the MCP was like, wow, I got this dude wrapped around my finger because if he doesn't do what I tell him to do, I'm going to be like, hey, man, you got this promotion because you're a thief. You stole space paranoids.
That's true, yeah. And that's Jeff Bridges' prime motivation for being involved with all this. Or Flynn, as his character name is. Try to use character names and not actor names.
Yeah.
Because he had his game stolen.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
5 games, specifically. Okay, so then, because the MCP wants to keep control of everything, and Flynn keeps trying to hack in to the system and find proof that his shit was stolen, Ed Dillinger, who's the CFO or CTO, Chief Technical Officer of the Encom Corporation, shuts down the security level that Bruce Boxleitner needs to run his Tron program, or needs to build his Tron program, which is a security program that'll shut down, or at least keep an eye on, all of the access to and from the Encom mainframe. I'm doing hand gestures here. You can't see them. Don't worry about it.
I can feel them in my soul.
Okay, good. So that Bruce Boxleitner gets locked out of the computers. Then he finds out from Ed Dillinger that the whole system's shut down because of a hacker. He goes to his girlfriend, Laura, right? Yes, Laura.
Yep.
I mix up her character name and
that's
program
confusing.
name.
Yeah, everybody plays 2, sometimes 3 characters. And yeah, it gets a little hard to follow, but not that hard. You're doing great.
Yeah. So he mentions this to his girlfriend, Laura, who used to date Flynn.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to talk to Flynn, and Flynn says, "Well, yeah, I've been hacking them, man. I'm trying to get proof. So because Dillinger ripped me off, and that program really tied the room together."
It's just like your opinion.
I wonder if Flynn also hates the Eagles.
I would like to think so.
I actually have a theory about Flynn, but it's got to do with Legacy, so I have to wait for Eric to see Legacy. But it's pretty much like the dude is post Legacy.
Okay.
But
after he's burned out and
no. You'll see. You'll understand.
Okay.
Ish.
I don't know when we're doing Legacy, but at some point.
That's fine. At some point when you get to it, then you'll be like, oh my God, yeah, that's right. It's the dude. But the dude and Kevin Flynn are the same person.
I could see that 100%. When he was younger, maybe he had a little more ambition, a little more drive, and then just got burned out and tired.
Had all those millions.
Yeah, all the disillusioned by everything.
Okay. Yeah.
But Jeff Bridges did great in both, and he's done other things. He's not just the dude in Kevin Flynn.
Yeah, he's also amazing in True Grit.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, back to Tron. We're not going to talk about the Coen Brothers Western, although I would love to. It is not Cyberpunk.
That's why we have a Patreon, my friend.
In fact, off the top of my head, I can't think of a single thing that the Coen Brothers directed that would be Cyberpunk.
I actually was just watching a TikTok where this guy ranked the Coen Brothers movies. Disagreed with his ranking, but yeah, there was not a Cyberpunk film in the mix.
What was his top?
His top was Fargo. Fargo, Barton Fink. I can't remember number.
Miller's Crossing, maybe?
No, it was A Simple Plan.
Really? No, that's a Raimi movie.
Blood Simple.
A Serious Man.
Blood Simple.
Blood Simple?
Blood Simple.
Those are, oh, yeah. Raising Arizona?
That was top 10, but not top 5.
Wow. Lebowski wasn't top
Even
5?
Oh Brother was 11. Brother didn't make the top 10, which I disagree with, but
sucks.
I love Oh Brother.
What, they've got something like 16 movies?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. They're a real hard filmography to rank.
He put Hudsucker Proxy at 14 or something, and maybe it's not the best. I haven't seen it in a while, but I loved Hudsucker Proxy, so I felt personally attacked.
For kids.
It's for kids.
Look,
We just said we weren't going to talk about this.
Mr. Leo is a nice man, and he's very busy.
And so what happens
let's give
is
him
that,
the double stitching.
Flynn says, all right, Alan, Laura, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go, actually, it's Laura's big idea. She's like, we're going to go down to NCOM. Yes, we're going to go to NCOM, and we're going to break in because you can do a special level 6 to like shunt the level 7 that got shut down. But you've only got a few minutes to do this, so I can go and get this proof, and you can do your thing, get Tron online, stop the MCP. I do this, and it'll take like seconds.
And this is all to find proof that Kevin Flynn had his ideas ripped off.
By Ed Dillinger, yes.
They don't even know that there's a whole fucking world of shit.
Fucking MCP.
Before this happens, though, actually, is that like we know that there's a weapon that the MCP is going to use to F with Flynn. Because Laura and I can't remember Dumont's human name, but the grandfather from the Lost Boys,
Walter something,
Sobchak. Yes, all right. Now this really all falls into place. He is the dude. They got that thing that makes the orange disappear and then reappear. A laser. And here comes something. Here goes nothing. There's that whole speech, and then that whole speech about how like. One day people aren't going to think anymore. They're going to let their computers do it for them. Wow, how ahead of their time was that? So, Kevin Flynn sits down at a terminal, and I'll let one of you guys describe it because it's probably better than what I'm doing. Because I just keep thinking about how wonderful it was that Wendy Carlos used, like, cartoon music while Kevin Flynn was, like, kind of, like, moping around with Laura, sneaking around, like,
Yeah, and he was doing the little tiptoe.
Yeah.
That scene was funny.
The Bugs
Bunny. There were a couple
walk.
jokes. My favorite joke in the film happened right about this time. As they were sneaking back in, and they hacked in and opened the big vault door to let them in.
Yes,
and it just keeps opening. It's like the thickest fucking door. And Flynn just says, "It's a big door."
It's a big door.
And I love jokes like that. I cracked up.
Yeah, that is actually the door that they use for loading and unloading radioactive materials at Lawrence Livermore Laboratory.
That explains then why in the trivia they mentioned that one person had their shoes contaminated with radioactive materials and it had to be decontaminated. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
It was a big door.
Yeah, they shot like all of that stuff, all the lab stuff at Lawrence Livermore.
Okay.
Which... I don't know, is exciting for some physics nerds, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, they're doing this thing, like they're doing a real basic level Shadowrun.
Mm-hmm. True, yeah.
So, Laura tells Flynn, okay, go to this terminal and you'll be able to hack in no problem. MCP detects that it's being hacked into. MCP fires the laser at Flynn, and he is suddenly digitized. And it is an extremely cool-looking sequence. I am currently demonstrating it, leaning back in my chair.
Yeah. And all I could think was, that has to hurt like a motherfucker.
To some extent, probably. On the other extent... I think you'd be dead instantaneously.
It like reverse 3D prints him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's just slow motion for us, the viewer, to see what's really happening. It probably happened in like 2 seconds.
True.
Yeah. So then, Flynn is flung into the computer because this laser digitizes everything. Huh?
Yeah,
Sure.
It's like a reverse 3D printer.
Yeah. And
these we're all in the parts that are pretty easy to follow, standard movie stuff.
Things are going to get complicated now.
Yes.
The
important thing is that our boy Alan has to get Tron online because Tron is basically the only program good enough to stop the MCP, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And then Flynn, being a user, or basically a programmer, inside of the computer gives him special powers that standard programs don't have. Everybody's pretty much inside the computer. They're pretty much... they are still subject to the laws of physics, which means you fall, you hurt yourself. You can't walk through walls, which is weird. I would think inside a computer, like I could make it so that I could clip through walls in Doom pretty easily.
There's no God mode here, man.
There's no God mode. There's no control console that he can type in a code and get unlimited ammo. But,
Okay.
Go ahead.
So then we get into the complicated stuff. Okay, everybody is represented inside the computer in terms of a program which looks like them, except they're wearing spandex and football pads.
Like a skateboard helmet.
Yeah. And also,
that's the iconic like Tron look if you've ever seen stills of the movie of Tron guy. Yeah, yes, Tron guy from the early 2000s, whenever that was.
Yeah.
That's one thing about the movie. I could wait to bring it up, but I'll bring it up now. I expected there to be a whole lot more light cycling. It was very short. I thought the whole movie was that.
Nope. That's just because the biggest thing that came from this movie was the light cycle video game.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, the video game had 4 games, and the console at the beginning of the movie that the guy's playing the game on, where Sark races the guy, that's the video game from arcades, and there were 4 games on it. It was something with the spiders or the bugs, which was never like it's like a 2-second like, oh, and we've forgotten about it after we've given the exposition of something that's never going to happen.
The actual game of Space Paranoids.
Space Paranoids? No, it's not in there.
No,
I see what you're saying.
Oh
yeah, the bugs thing. The light cycle game. There's a thing with the tanks.
Yeah, there's the tank driving.
Oh, and then there's the one where you have to shoot the disc at the MCP, but it's got the grid thing.
And these were all like arcade.
Yeah, and then there was
games.
like another game called Disc Wars where it was just like you were on the high LI thing, but you were throwing discs at each other instead. Kind of like when you meet Tron, actually, except it's just
he's playing
a 2-player game instead of a 5-player game.
Yeah,
interesting. I've not seen any of those. Which came first, Tron or Snake? Because Tron seems to be a ripoff of Snake, or maybe Snake ripped off Tron.
I honestly have no idea about the history of Snake. I'm
Well,
gonna
you should
assume
fucking
Tron
learn.
came first.
I mean, it was a game on a flip phone. I mean,
Yeah,
It was before, it predated flip phones. It was also on calculators.
I'm gonna guess Tron.
All right.
but-
Its influence score in our ratings is going up as we speak.
It certainly is. One of the most influential things about this movie.
What?
I think her name is Bonnie McBaird, Bonnie McBaird,
Bonnie McMurray,
who was
Murray. Josh hasn't seen that.
one of the screenwriters, is supposedly the first person to submit a script composed on a computer. She wrote it on a computer and then sent it in on, I can't remember what they called it, one of those proto fax machines.
Wow.
And she had to specifically choose to print it out in a font that displayed as close to Courier, like typewriter font, as she could find, because otherwise people at Disney would bitch about it.
Huh. Because they needed their font.
Yeah, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Snake came first.
Really?
76.
Huh.
Yep.
You guys doubted my Snake.
I would never doubt your
expertise.
Snake.
You better not doubt my Snake.
Ride the snake.
It's long.
Well, all right, Tron.
it's old. Its skin is cold.
That's a mark off. the
Well, Tron
influence
can
column.
get fucked. Let's finish the show.
I give up. Want to watch Blade Runner? All right.
Always.
I know. I agree. We'll get there someday. We're just teasing our eventual Blade Runner.
You
coverage.
guys will make that Blade Runner episode. You'll make Blade Runner interesting for me.
The original Blade Runner. We'll
yes,
try.
yes. I mean, talk about the book first. Anyway,
Yeah, we'll have to do that too.
great book.
All right. So get back to your recap, Josh. We are.
Okay, now things become confused.
Flynn is inside the computer, and he pretty quickly gets captured by the MCP's guards, which it's important to point out that all the guards and all the MCP team is always wearing red, and the good guys are always like lit in blue.
Yeah, which is another piece of trivia that I faintly remembered from some sort of DVD extra, and then was reconfirmed by either Wikipedia or IMDb. Originally, all the users, like all the good programs, were going to be yellow, and all the bad programs were going to be blue. Then they switched it sometime like mid-production, but there are a few scenes that it didn't get switched. So when the Tron when the program that Flynn hacked with at the beginning of the movie got captured. Yes,
Clue program.
Yeah.
He's gold.
Yeah, he's gold. That's the original like version of it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I wonder
then
why they just missed that.
I think it's because it was really fucking expensive to go back and redo that stuff.
Right.
One of the things that I read was that, okay, so they were able to generate these cool computer graphics, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they had no way to get them, there's no native way to get them off of the computers. So
On the film.
What they had to do was, okay, so each one of these, like each frame of the CG, like the full CG shots, like the solar sailor that occurs later in the film, each one of those took something like 14 hours to render.
Oh, wow.
Because computers were great in 1981.
Yeah, I actually have stats of the computers they used on IMDb here. Keep talking, I'll pull it up.
So they would have that, and they could output it to a screen. So then each one of those frames, like it would render the frame, display it on a screen, and then there would be effectively a 60 millimeter film camera that takes a picture of the screen, like a physical fucking camera.
Wow.
And then it spends another 16 hours rendering the next frame. And then it takes another physical... Yeah.
That sounds awful. Like, doesn't sound fun.
Yeah, it's like, when you're looking at it, it's incredibly cool. Like, you look at it and go, yeah, this is pretty cool CG for 1982.
Yeah.
And then...
I mean, it looked as good as Johnny Mnemonic CG, some of Johnny Mnemonic's CG in 1995.
Yeah, it looks pretty good for 1982. And then you read about the amount of work that went into it, and you're like, oh no, this is beyond fucking amazing for 1982.
Yeah, which I also read that this film was disqualified from the Academy Awards for special effects because they thought computer-generated effects were cheating.
Cindy Morgan actually told me that in person.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yes, she was talking about how the movies have changed. It was the day I met Winkler, as a matter of fact. She was talking about Lord of the Rings or something like that. She's like, look at this. Lord of the Rings wins all these Oscars for special effects and everything using computers. Meanwhile, Tron was disqualified because, oh, you can't use special effects with a computer. And she didn't seem thrilled about it.
No, I wouldn't be either. These days, that's all the special effects category is. And they were so far ahead. But that's the thing about groundbreakers like that. They go unrecognized. Happens over and over again. All right.
And over,
so,
and over, and over.
I also wanted to point out, just so we can touch on it, the way the people in programs look inside the computer, because it's the scenes involving humans are different from the scenes involving CG. As from what I read, they couldn't mix the two really. So anything involving humans had to be completely standard effects, and anything involving CG had to be separate. So
yeah,
to do that, they filmed the human scenes in black and white, and then came back and recolored them after the fact. This whole movie just seems like it was just exhausting.
Initially, they tried to do it because what they ended up doing was they shot it in black and white against a big black background. So, instead of a green screen, they had a black screen.
Right.
Initially, they were going to do it with a white screen. Like, everything inside the computer would be white with bright colored lines, as opposed to black with colored lines. However, when they were testing this, apparently it took so many fucking lights that they browned out Burbank because to get even lighting across a gigantic white surface like that was effectively impossible. So yeah, I think I got that off of a special features featurette on the Disney.
Well, it just
Plus
shows our
app.
level of expertise. I'm pulling my fun facts from IMDb. Josh is pulling them from special features DVDs, and Sean is pulling his from the mouths of the cast members.
Yes. Yeah, and I would like to shout out Cindy Williams. She
Morgan.
Morgan, sorry.
There you go.
Who's Cindy Williams?
And I like the way you said that, Eric. I pulled them from the mouths of the cast members. Anyway.
What
Is Cindy
were you
Williams
pointing out?
somebody else? She does great. She didn't have a incredible movie career after this, and I don't know why not, because she's very good in it.
Cindy Williams is an American actress from Laverne and Shirley.
How about
She
Morgan?
just died.
Let's look up Cindy Morgan.
That's right.
It's
Yeah,
not
she
Cindy
died earlier
Williams.
this year. Oh,
No.
I was going to
Yeah.
point this out at the beginning of the show.
You're talking
too.
about the
What?
wrong actress, brother.
Yeah.
Tom Sizemore passed away.
Yes.
yes.
today.
Yes. Was he paranoid enough?
Apparently not. I mean, I don't know. I don't think he died from being murdered or anything.
No, he had an aneurysm, probably. And don't prosecute me for this. Probably
Allegedly.
from too much coke.
Allegedly,
Too much cocaine.
I feel. But we talked a little trash on Tom Sizemore on our Strange Days episode before we knew he was.
Did we?
I did.
Just a bit.
And I feel bad about it now.
I
Especially
think
since I've been reading such nice things about him from his co-stars.
I assume everything we said was loving, because he was an amazing scumbag character.
He was.
Like, I think he had a lot of problems, and that's really too bad. But fuck, he was so good throughout most of the 90s.
I recommend. Oh man, I'm blanking on her name. Actress who plays Gretchen on Dawson's Creek, Pacey's sister. She actually posted a tribute to Tom Sizemore today on her Instagram because
Really?
she did a movie with him.
Sasha
And,
Alexander.
Sasha Alexander, that's it. Thank you. She told a little story about how he was afraid to come out of his trailer because he was feeling insecure about his looks. And part of her was like, oh God, these men, because she had just had a baby and she had like a swimsuit scene. But
Sure,
she
why
basically
not? Yeah.
went in and like took him by the hand. She's like, it's movies, baby. We'll figure it out later. Just come on. And she got him to come out and film the scene. And it was kind of sweet. And I like Sasha Alexander and Tom Sizemore. If I talked shit a few episodes ago, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I love everything all your roles have been fantastic that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean,
We just watched The Relic the other day. He was phenomenal.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
To watch it.
I haven't seen that since 1996 in Tony's basement.
My wife has this new thing where she's watching 90s movies once a week. I don't know why. This week we substituted Tron in, but yeah, The Relic is not good, but Tom Sizemore is compelling.
You know what he was great in?
What?
Almost
Heat.
everything?
Heat.
Oh, yeah,
Heat?
clearly. For me, the action is the juice.
Exactly.
I've never seen Heat.
What?
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay, we're going to watch that on a special feature because I cannot tie that to Cyberpunk at all.
Yeah.
But
I need to watch it.
I want to watch that movie.
All right, let's take a quick break and watch quick Heat break.
Okay, quick heat break.
We'll be right back. And we're back.
And
Okay.
it's
I've
been
now seen
3
Heat.
hours, and it's
Good movie, guys.
get killed outside walking your doggy.
All right. Anyway, we've got to continue on. Once again, we're gonna have another freaking 2-hour episode.
Of course we are.
Where were we? He just got into the computer. He gets sent to a prison. That's
We glossed over the earlier parts, which show the interior life of the computers.
yes.
because-
yeah, it's important to the plot. They're like fighting a battle down inside the machines.
There's a war being raged in the computers as well as inside my mind.
Is that a reference?
That is. Don't worry about it.
Kind of want to know now, though.
It's a Twisted song.
Okay, should have let it go.
Should have.
One thing I wanted to point out about the effects when he's in the computer. The only thing that kind of took me out. I mean, yes, everything is dated and old and kind of cheesy, but in a fun way. But when they walk, their footsteps are so freaking loud on whatever plastic platforms they constructed.
Yeah,
and it's got that like reverb on it.
Yeah, that took me out of it because I'm thinking you're in a computer, you're not going to be like thump 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 thumping around. But that's a minor. I don't know why I brought it up because
you wanted to complain about it.
I love complaining.
No,
Find me next on the Adam Carolla podcast.
And you just got that lull. I complain.
Okay, another fun fact about when they're inside the computers. They were not initially supposed to have those helmets. They found out that it was way, way, way too difficult to composite stuff when they had to deal with individual hairs.
Oh, yeah, what a mess.
Yeah. So
I think it worked out in their favor. The helmets are iconic.
Absolutely. Yeah, they did a bunch of basically screen tests and figured out, okay, everything in here looks cool because they were doing something called backlight animation or whatever, where basically the things on their spandex suits, which were designed by Mobius, who will come back in the future as a set designer, basically all the cool glowing lines on their spandex suits were basically just Sharpie lines that then people had to go in and they projected light through it. I don't know. I'm not a computer graphics science
You're not?
guy. No. Sadly, no.
That was your day job. What the fuck?
No. I am a field scientist.
Bad.
Yeah, sorry. I know I got onto this podcast via
You completely lied on your
stolen
resume.
valor.
Stolen valor. Jesus. That's not what that means.
That is exactly what that means.
Anyway, helmets are cool. Fuck it.
Yeah, the helmets fucking rule. Having hair inside the computer was impossible.
Yeah, and would honestly look weird, I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, hair now in CG is incredibly difficult, even with the technology levels we've achieved. Video game hair always looks bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's at best sketchy.
So there was another thing. Oh yeah, the life inside the computer. Basically, all the programs are being controlled or pushed down by the MCP, who kind of runs everything with an iron fist. And through him, his right-hand man, his number 2, my favorite character,
Motherfucking Sark.
Mr. Sark. I love a henchman.
He's
Sark
kind of
is-
like the boss henchman.
Yeah. He's Darth Vader to the Emperor. He's,
Yeah.
he's not to be fucked with. He wins. In fact, we're introduced to him as he's owning somebody in the games, which is apparently just these life or death combat games that programs are forced to do for the MCP's amusement. Is that why? Why are they doing it?
Just to get rid of them. Just to delete them for the users.
Just to get rid of programs?
Yeah, it's like, oh, this program it could potentially fuck with me, so let's just get rid of it.
Okay.
Get some quarters.
Like that poor bastard annuity program.
Yeah, exactly.
Compound interest programs are really going
RAM.
to fuck with. Yeah.
No, not Ram. The other guy. The guy that
Oh,
does
yeah.
a lie.
Crom.
Crom.
yeah.
Ah, Crom.
Who actually
with
looks
you.
like Tron guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Minus
was
the glasses.
that was a little bit confusing, especially once you put him in black and white and helmets.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're introduced to Sark as he is slaying a program in medieval combat, basically, and he looks different than everybody else. He's got a helmet, but it's like a special, fancy helmet with a back that kind of swoops down and.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those Sahara hats that were popular for 5 minutes in the 80s.
Dude, we never pointed out there were so many of those in Max Headroom TV show.
Oh,
I meant
yes,
to point it out
absolutely.
a million times.
Yeah.
All the helicopter pilots wore those Sahara hats.
That is true.
But yeah, he looks meaner than the other, even than the other like guards and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we're also introduced to the program you just mentioned, who is eventually killed, and Ram, who is like, I guess it's supposed to be like our everyday dude inside the computer.
Yeah, the everyman who just throws discs. I don't know.
Oh, that's another thing. We're introduced to the discs. What are they called?
Identity discs.
Identity disc. That's what it is. Which they're basically saying has all your info on it. It's
everything you
like
do, everything you learn will be imprinted on this disc. If you lose your disc, you will be subject to immediate deresolution.
Deresolution. That's the word they use a lot.
That's the big threat.
Deresed. Yeah.
Okay, so we've been neglecting the inner life of computers, where, as I said, everybody is represented in terms of the programs that they use. So Flynn gets dumped into the computer, and he appears basically exactly the same as his program Clue, which had appeared earlier. He gets tossed into computer jail for being in the wrong place.
Well, they knew who he was. Like the MCP said,
that's right.
told Sark, "I'm sending Flynn to you. You need to treat him like any other program, put him through the trials, and then eventually derez him like everybody else." Which excited Sark. He was looking forward to a challenge.
Yeah, because mostly he's used to defeating accounting programs and things.
Right.
So Flynn gets locked in a cell next to Tron, who is Bruce.
No, not next to
Boxleitner.
Tron. Tron
He's
was
next to Ram.
Next to Ram.
That's right. Yeah. He gets locked into a cell, and then taken to a little training. I don't know, pep talk. I'm not sure. By Sark. Where it's the identity disc thing is all laid out.
And on the way there, that's when they see Tron, the Tron program.
Yes.
Practicing, warming up. And I think it's Ram who introduces him. This part got confusing to me because...
There are two Bruce Boxleitners.
Two Bruce Boxleitners. And his real-world counterpart was going to turn him on... I don't know. It just suddenly Tron was there. They made it sound like getting Tron there was going to be an issue, and he just was there all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's not entirely clear. Like
no, it's because Tron was there. It's just that Alan couldn't access Tron. Mm-hmm. So that was the problem. That's the whole thing with the I/O towers later on. It's about the access. So the whole thing is that the MCP is shut down the I/O towers between the programs and their users, which, all of a sudden the users are like the god kind of thing, where like even the MCP and Sark are like, we know users are real, but like we can't tell these people that. We want to control them. It's religion.
Yeah,
it's how they control people.
Was kind of confusing to me how Sark would go and like tell people to abandon their belief of these users, and then they would in the next breath be talking.
Hey, believe everything I tell you that's in this book, and you'll be fine. Don't do the research for yourself. Just trust me. The book says that. It's the same
sound
thing.
Familiar? I don't.
Right.
I don't
exactly.
know what you're referencing.
Oh, the Book of Eli.
Jesus Christ.
Is that Cyberpunk?
That is a movie I never expected to hear or think of again.
Part of the problem with all this is that if you know anything, like even rudimentary, like 2023 knowledge about computers and programs, your brain gets mixed up by what they're telling you with their 1982 knowledge. So programs are things that live, and when you aren't using them on a computer, they go and they have their own little lives inside your hard drive.
Yeah, and they're playing video games.
And they're playing video games with each other, and sometimes the evil overlord of your hard drive is subjugating them.
Yes, exactly.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Continue.
Okay, where were we at? Okay, so
We have to be faster, by the way.
yeah, we do. Flynn gets put into a highlight / Tron or / Pong match against the Crom program that we have previously been introduced to, and he sort of accidentally wipes him out.
Yes, and
Sark kills him because he won't kill him.
Yeah,
that's,
Flynn
that's
refuses.
true. Yeah.
I wanted to point out just another point of influence here. When I was watching this, I got like strong vibes of Squid Game. I feel like Squid Game took some like direct influence, I guess, from this scene in particular. It just really felt like just the way it was set up felt like that to me anyway. I just
feel bad that this is the guy that Conan's been praying to. Just goes out so quickly like a bitch.
Yes, this is
Yes.
the afterlife world of Conan.
Well,
Why'd you pick this god, Conan?
Conan's been spending all of his time praying to a complex interest program.
Fun fact, Crom is the only god that I've seen evidence of existing through Josh.
Yep, that was me.
Because I've never seen any evidence of any other god. But one time when we were working on a car or something, we were wrenching on something, and there was a bolt that was stuck fast, and neither of us could budge it until Josh got in there and called out to Crom and broke that fucking thing loose immediately after doing it.
That's amazing.
That is in my mind every time I think of the Conan Crom. Yes.
Yeah, it was
Like,
hilarious.
maybe that guy's real.
More evidence of him than anyone else. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so where do we go from
Sark
there? Okay.
kills Crom.
Yes.
Then the next thing is the light cycles, where Flynn
the
walks
three of
up to
them.
Tron and calls him Alan. He goes, "The name of my user." Now I'm a program that knows this guy who saw Ferris pass out at 31 Flavors last night. And he's like, "My user wants that." He goes, "I know." It's something like that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the gist of it.
Cool.
And they formed the power trio of
Flynn, Clue, and
Crom.
Tron. Yeah. No, Clue. Crom's dead.
Clue.
No, Clue.
Yeah.
Clue.
Clue's dead too.
No,
Yeah.
Clue's not dead yet.
I thought Clue died at the beginning when he was hacking.
No, I'm sorry, not Clue. Ram. I'm sorry, you're right.
Ram.
It's Flynn.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flynn, Ram. Some nerd that's not me this time. Funny enough, is probably yelling at me, going, "No, dude, shut up." No, but you're right.
Flynn,
Yeah, so
Ram,
Flynn, Ram, and
and
Tron.
Tron.
Yeah, Flynn, Ram, Tron. All right.
Ramtron, yeah. So
Yes.
they form the power trio on the light cycle field and wipe the floor with their challengers.
They do.
Yes. I would just like to, in the middle of this confusion about character names and placements,
Confusion. I feel like this is perfectly clear.
I would like to state for the record, I was entirely unable to take notes while I was watching this movie because
Me
I
too.
kept getting immediately fucking sucked into it.
I too. I have a really couple of loose ones. One of them was that the early touchscreen tech on Dillinger's desk seemed like
yeah.
pretty cool because I don't like touchscreens are so ubiquitous now you don't even think about them. But in '82 that was neat. Anyway, it was hard to take notes, and I wanted the lights off. Like I didn't want to have any lights on. I wanted to immerse myself in this world. I think this movie would be so fun to see in the theater, especially in 1982 before CG has gotten to the point it is now.
Yeah, I wonder if places like the Alamo do screenings of this.
I'm sure they do, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you mean the Alamo Draft House, not to be confused with the Alamo.
Not the
where
actual Alamo.
I doubt, like, if you go to the Alamo, be like, "Hey, what time is Tron showing?" They're gonna be like, "What? Get out of here, Yankee!"
That cat is like, I don't know. I guess I'll kill some mites.
Oh, you
What's
know
the
what,
name?
man? Bella.
Bella. That's
Bella.
yeah.
Oh, Bella's so fucking gorgeous.
Perhaps they have showings in the basement.
There is a basement.
Possibly.
It's under the gift shop.
That's where Pee-wee's bike is. All right,
Probably.
so moving on. What happened next, Josh? You said
Flynn
more.
never should have written all those tank programs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. They got a once. Oh, that's right. They win the light cycle match, and then
They don't
bust
win
through the
it.
wall.
They see a way out of it. I don't think there's any winner, even though the other
They
three
killed all
guys
the
are
dudes,
dead.
though.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
killed all the dudes, but like it's not that they want. Like they broke out. This was
Well,
a prison break. with a great score behind it.
Yes, absolutely. That's one of the points in the movie where, like, usually I'm pretty good at just integrating the score into kind of the background and what's going on. But that's one of the points where I was like, oh, fuck yeah, this score is fucking bomb right now. Like, the way it worked with the light cycle sequence was, like, I don't know, I don't want to say intrusive because that sounds bad, but it was leading the way, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good way.
This is the way.
Yeah.
The light cycle sequence was really neat. I just the aesthetics of how they did it and how the cycles could make those quick 90-degree turns. Don't know why they never made those kind of turns in the future when they're being chased by other things, but doesn't matter. On the field, it lived up to the hype because that, like I said, that's all I knew about Tron. So that's what I thought the whole movie was. I was like, how do they make a movie out of people just running in straight lines all for 2 hours?
Turns out there's more to it than that.
Yeah. All right, so they get out, and then they start having to run from tanks and those weird, like, M-shaped spaceships.
Recognizers, yeah. I really, one of the things that watching the movie, I was immediately entranced with these times that I watched it this past week. Boy, I love the interior of those fucking tanks. The way, like, the central turret thing swivels. Mm-hmm. And just the way they shot all those, that is a really cool environment to lock a character into.
Yeah, I agree. And so they're taking their light cycles, they're cruising outside of, like, the light cycle arena, and they determine that they need to get... How do they know where to go? They determine they need to get Tron to the MCP because he's got the nuts.
Yeah, they need to get to this one big tower in the distance, which looks like an arcology, which has a laser beam pointed out, like up into the sky, which is what communicates with the users.
Right.
Wait, let's see. Is this the point they run into Yori at?
No, not yet. They get to Yori after this, because right now they get shot. The big flying M's actually shoot them and separate them. And Tron, there's a chasm, there's a bridge, they're on it, and Tron gets across the bridge, but Flynn and Ram are stuck on the other side of the bridge, and Ram is injured. Tron gets away, goes to continue his quest, but Flynn and Ram have to fight for themselves.
Yes.
Oh wait, no, we skipped the part where they find, like, the pure energy source.
The water of life?
Yeah.
Pure energy. Yeah, so they were next to a plug in a wall.
Yeah.
Really?
I would assume so.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
They loved it. Even Flynn loved it.
It makes as much sense as anything in this.
I'm not going to lie. I wanted to get me a drink of that.
Hmm?
I wanted to see what it felt like. Is it just like liquid meth?
Sure. Why not?
I don't know. I mean, Flynn seemed to enjoy
He pepped up.
Yeah. But then they get separated, and Ram gets fatally wounded, unfortunately.
Yes. Let's see. This is the point at which they run into Yuri.
Sure.
Yes. Yuri, who is the program representation of Laura?
Yes.
Because we don't know exactly. It's not important. Don't worry about it. You're overthinking it.
Yeah, they don't really give an explanation of why she has a representation in there. But you can assume that, she dated two of the top programmers at the place. One of them probably just put her face in there because everybody's obsessed with her.
Yeah, sure. That seems very reasonable.
I really liked the three of them, their, like, energy together, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
How Jeff Bridges was, like, the ex, and Bruce Boxleitner was the current boyfriend, and it was all fun and games. And, like, there wasn't, like, a lot of hateful jealousy, but there was a little bit of fun jealousy. And I just like the three of them together.
Does she still leave her clothes all over the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was exactly what I was going to say.
They made
Not
a good
all
trio.
the time.
And they do inside the computer as well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then they have to keep trying to get to this tower. They're pursued by, let's see, more tanks. And the security programs wearing their football pads and conehead helmets.
Yes.
This must have been a psychotic movie to see, like, if you were not, like, involved with filming Tron. Like, just if you were on the Disney lot at this time and just saw so many people running around in fucking spandex
Yeah.
and football pads.
With black Sharpie lines drawn all over them.
Yeah, just like, what the fuck?
I love it. It's at some point in this where Flynn learns that he can use his user powers to basically impersonate one of the guards and turn the colors on his suit red so he can kind of blend in and travel freely.
Yes. Okay, I'm blanking on exactly the next step, how they get to the Solar Sailor.
It's hard.
She just like points it out, oh, like, hey, because they're working on the Solar Sailor.
Okay,
when
that's right. Yeah.
when Tron finds her, because she keeps repeating that same thing until he's just like, no, stop repeating that stupid thing. Oh, Tron, it's you. Oh, okay. And then there's a deleted scene where they go back to her apartment and fuck. But I mean, that would have slowed down the movie. Plus, they're on this mission to get to the I.O. tower. Why would they stop at her apartment and fuck? So I'm glad that was cut.
Why does she have an apartment? Because I guess programs need a place to go.
Because movie. Well, it's a cut scene, so it doesn't
Metaphor.
matter.
Okay.
Nothing goes over my head.
I'm too fast. I would catch it.
Exactly. Hey, Bautista.
Yeah,
what else has he done? Oh,
So
you
let's
guys
talk
are going to
about
do
the
Spectre. That's it. All right.
Nothing or note.
Let's talk about the Solar Sailor because it confused me. What is it? Where was it coming from and where is it going?
It was transporting programs across the game grid to the MCP without having to walk through the game grid.
Okay.
Yes, that. It is also a computer-generated representation of a theoretical method of spaceflight. And it was one of the cooler images in the Tron pop-up book.
Oh, I can imagine that. Yeah.
You gotta dig that book up.
The only one I really remember is the MCP at the end.
Yeah, the MCP one was very cool, but the Solar Sailor one is one that I very specifically remember pulling the tab at the edge of the page and watching it unfold and move across.
Oh, man. Yes. I got to point out, and this isn't a spoiler, Eric, but both Tron movies have just the perfect music for the Solar Sailor scenes.
I love that's one score that stood out to me was the Solar Sailor Solar Sailor scene. The Solar Sailor scene score was superb and stupendous.
Honestly, that might having watched it 2.5 times in the past week, just the Solar Sailor, like that sequence, Solar Sailor sequence, is maybe my favorite in the entire movie. Like, just the combination of the score and the visuals, like that really did something to me. It like infected my brain at, I don't know, 7 years old or whenever it was I saw that movie.
Right.
And it just looks like, yeah, this was the future. This was the future that liberals want.
I don't have that connection to this movie, but I do have it to other things, and I get what you're laying down.
Yeah.
I'm sure other people do as well.
Yeah, the combination of the score and the, like, especially what we talked about earlier, like, understanding the difficulty of manufacturing the fucking visuals. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what this score did for me? And I mentioned it earlier too, but my brother was into Dream Theater well before I was. And when Images and Words came out, he's like, the new Dream Theater's out. I'm like, I don't like them. So he plays Metropolis for me. And I'll swear to this day that middle section of Metropolis is completely inspired by the light cycle scene and the Solar Sailor scene, just the score, with all the cool synth stuff going on, all the odd time stuff going on. So I would listen to just that section like, oh my God, it's heavy metal Tron for the longest time. And I maintain that my love for Dream Theater stems from Wendy Carlos.
Okay, I totally believe that.
I'm going to listen to that after this.
Think, like, what I recall of that song, really, I totally buy that. Like, what you're saying makes total sense to me.
It's the chaos of these synth melodies. And now, was that Dream Theater or Wendy Carlos?
Good question. Yeah, that's something, like, I really think, even though the past couple of years she's been getting a little bit of recognition that she had been missing out on, Wendy Carlos is still under-recognized as an incredible fucking composer and, at the same time, technician.
Are there other scores that I would recognize?
She did a really good, really cool and interesting version of Peter and the Wolf.
With Weird Al.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. She also did her big hit was Switched on Bach, which is a huge Bach suite entirely on Moog synthesizers in 1972, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, there was Switched on Bach, Hooked on Bach.
Yeah.
There was another one. My father had. I listened to those a lot as a kid too.
Yeah. And yeah, I think there was another one that was just like Switched on Classics or something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And like the incredible thing about her is that not only was she an utterly amazing composer and technician, like, because she was effectively having to build her own instruments in terms of synthesizers. Unlike a lot of people who do electronic music and do a lot of synthesizer work, she has a technique.
She did The Shining.
Yeah. Not a lot of it was used actually in the film. But the main, like, when the titles are coming up is Wendy Carlos.
Who directed that? The Shining.
I don't know. No, nobody notable.
Little guy nobody's heard of.
Don't worry about it.
Sorry.
Didn't they do that movie with Chris Tucker?
Okay, I'm gonna ignore this.
I have a feeling that they were in a movie with Chris Tucker.
Not ringing a bell for me.
No,
they were a cab driver, if I recall correctly. I have to look this up now. You guys continue. I will look this up.
But the thing about Wendy Carlos is not only was she an incredible technician and composer, she also had an incredible technique and feel for the keyboard, I guess, in kind of a loose sense. Like, she managed to convey emotion through keying, where a lot of really good, like, where basically a computer program can't do it.
If only we had a keyboard player to chime in and see if they agreed, but I don't know one, so...
Yeah, I don't know anybody who plays keyboards at all.
I'm going to go see one tomorrow night. I hear they do a pretty good Rick Wakeman. But I guess I'm seeing a Yes tribute band tomorrow night. But I guess since he's not here, I mean, I've dabbled in the past. Maybe
Are you dabbling?
Yeah, I might be able to provide some insight. I'm not sure. Everything that Josh said, I'm going to go ahead and say is 100% true. And I think
it would have been hilarious if you just said he's fucking wrong and I disagree. And then
like, while I prefer what Sean is saying, that would have been hilarious for the podcast.
Well, I would also like to say that I was incorrect about the Chris Tucker movie. That was a different director playing a cab driver.
Luc Besson?
No, but god damn it, tell me that Leon the Professional, which, by the way, when it came out was just called The Professional, is not a perfect movie.
It's pretty good.
The thing about the emotion that you mentioned too is like I think that really stands out. Where like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff done with computers for this score, but like it doesn't sound as technical. Like the notes breathe, even though they're very like.
That's
I guess music wise, it's technical, but isn't it all? But like where like I'll bring up Metropolis again. It's very where. In Tron, it's like and like the dynamics there, and it's just
I think
on.
breathe. I think breathe and breath is exactly what I was looking for. Like, I don't know. There is such a human touch to the synthesizers in this film and all of Wendy Carlos's scores that I don't know of anybody else. Like, I know I like plenty of electronic music, but Wendy Carlos is somehow in a completely different sphere as far as that goes.
Yeah, a millionfold.
All right. Well, I
so the
liked
Solar
it.
Sailor rules.
It does until Sark's ship destroys it.
Yeah,
Sark's ship was very cool too, by the way.
It was also really cool, and you saw it in like the second scene of the movie where MCP is like talking to Sark about, or talking to Dillinger about how I'm going to take over the Pentagon.
Yeah.
And you see like the blueprints for it. And that is also a really cool, like, I don't know, weirdly Macross design for a starship.
Yeah. It was anti-symmetrical, asymmetrical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I liked Sark's ship quite a bit too. So the Solar Sailor heads off. It's following a beam. At some point, they learn they can divert this beam because they're forced to or crash. But Sark's ship doesn't destroy it.
Flynn redirects the beam because he is a user.
Yeah. We completely skipped over the part where he gains control of one of those M ships and like cruises it around, and he meets the little cork thing that can only speak in yes and no's.
It's a bit.
Yeah.
Who went on to do other stuff. Bit ended up playing a character called Cursor on the 1983 show Automan.
Bit?
Okay, that's not something I recognize a reference to.
Automan pretty much ripped off the whole Tron look.
Oh.
But that's something you can talk about at some other point.
I have no memory of it.
I've never heard of it. But I thought
it was a TV
Bit
show.
Was cool. And I was surprised Bit had such a bit part.
Yes. Well, Bit was in the beginning too.
Yeah, he was like hanging out with Clue. But
that's why Flynn's like, I'm your program. Yes.
You know Disney loves to shove cute things in there, for kids. And
hey, buddy, I got this thing I've been working on, for drinks.
Oh, shit. I just looked up Automan on my phone, and boy, I do remember that suddenly.
See? And the car also drove like it made those 90-degree turns like a light cycle would.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Huh. 13
Cursor
whole
could
episodes.
turn Cursor would turn into a car, into a helicopter.
I don't remember this at all, but I've got to see it now.
Yeah, look at it. It's fucking
it's a Tron ripoff.
Yeah, clearly. Fucking Tron ripoff with a Lamborghini Countach.
And it's
oh, shit! Desi Arnaz Jr. Oh, my God.
Oh, Josh is excited. I don't know if we're going to cover that on this show, but maybe.
Assuming it's available anywhere, I might force us to.
All right. Can we please keep going with the plot of this show?
Okay, so they get to the I.O. tower. At which point, MCP is this weird spinning vortex thing. And it is preventing communication with the users / the outside world.
So, okay, the I.O. tower... The I.O. tower allows programs to communicate with users. That's its purpose, right? But they also kind of talked like it was obsolete, like nobody really used it anymore. So
because
is it
the
like
MCP shut them down.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not like outdated tech. It's literally the only way the programs can communicate with users.
Yeah, it's the input-output tower, hence I/O.
So how was Flynn
the
communicating
things-
with Clue in the beginning?
One of the things to realize about this movie that isn't immediately apparent is that the entire movie takes place in like 2 seconds. I
know it takes place in one night, but I didn't know it was that fast.
After Flynn gets, digitized, like everything after that is like a second and a half or something.
Oh, wow.
They make some mentions of the timeline just very offhand, like it's been 200 microcycles since I've been here, which is something like, I don't know, 2/1000th of a second.
Okay.
I think there's also something in the printout too with the space paranoids, like showing that Ed Dillinger stole it.
Yeah. So in the computer, the I/O tower has been shut down for, I don't know, a huge amount of time. It's really been shut down for half a second or something in reality.
Wow, I never made that time jump connection.
That's totally reasonable. This movie is a little complicated.
And it also got shut down after Flynn tried infiltrating with Clue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was when it was mainly... that was when it was shut down. And then... Because Bruce Boxleitner is told you're going to have to be down for a few days. Yeah. But so inside the computer, that was like years passing, basically.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not put that together. That would have been... I feel like that would have been important for them to draw a little more attention to.
It's a Disney movie. I hate to give that as an excuse, but, they're marketing it at best at 15-year-olds.
Yeah, I know, but...
Yeah.
And it didn't really take away from anything, so maybe it was fine, but it did make things a little bit more confusing.
Yeah, that's fair. This movie is not the clearest thing in the world.
No, it was not.
Even though it fucking honks.
It really is, though. But maybe it's because I've seen it and heard it so many times that I get it.
That's the thing. I
haven't.
Like, the first time I was rewatching it this past week, I was like, holy shit, this is fucking confusing. And like half a second after that, I was like, no, this makes perfect sense. Like,
well, as I'm talking to you guys about it, things start to click and make sense, But as I was watching it last night, I was having a hard time figuring out where I was in space and clearly in time. I'm learning now, and so I felt kind of adrift. And this is just, I'm not dogging on the movie. I liked it, but I'm just, we're here to criticize, and so I was just kind of confused by it. I was picking up the main plot points, but it was hard for me to get a handle on where I was in this world.
Yeah,
like it seemed like they traveled a very long distance from the beginning to the end. Maybe they didn't. I don't know.
Remember, everything occurs at the speed of light?
Yeah,
or
I know.
Close to it? I mean, it's totally understandable that you would have an issue. Like, it's totally understandable that you would have a problem understanding what's going on, because it kind of doesn't make sense, but it's also does. I don't know.
On a second viewing, it probably would a lot more. Also, don't forget, I'm a stupid man.
And the movie fucking honks.
All right. So they talk to this old dude who is
the Sphinx.
The Sphinx, who is the representation of Bernard Hughes, Dr. Walter Gibbs. Is that who?
Yes,
that's Walter.
On the outside, he's the old programmer. On the inside, he's this kind of oracle thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he banished himself in there because he couldn't take life in the real world with all the vampires in his.
I'm just seeing that on his IMDb.
Hey, is that movie Cyberpunk? Should we cover that?
I wish.
I mean, he reads the TV guide, so he doesn't have to watch the TV.
Yeah.
There's something in that line that might be a stretch for you.
I think
he's
we'll
in
have
a
to
lot
cover.
of good shit.
we'll have to cover fucking Lost Boys.
Absolutely.
Special features.
Sail on to the night, lost in the shadows.
That soundtrack fucking slaps, honks, and fucks.
You know, I'll tell you, I gotta agree with you, because every time I put that on, I still believe.
I still believe.
I loved seeing that guy playing keyboards in the Tina Turner film where I do not remember the name of it at the moment. What's Love Got to Do with it?
What's Love Got to Do?
Yeah.
And the second I saw him, I'm like, hon, that's the dude we just saw on Reservation Dogs.
Oh, man.
I hope that's not a spoiler.
No, don't worry about it.
Good.
I mean, I've seen it and it didn't spoil anything for me. Oh, so yeah, he's like this old Oracle guy who
We're terrible at this.
Yeah, we're not good at this chosen podcast.
You get me
format.
on. I got ADD and that's it.
I also remember this specific page in the pop-up book with the Sphinx.
Yeah, because it opens up in the middle and his head kind of pops up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a crazy outfit, and he's like inside of a pyramid. Yeah, so or something from what I'm remembering. This was late in the movie, and I wasn't drinking, but I feel like I was descending into a fever dream and kind of losing track of what was happening.
Yeah,
so,
fair.
But he was a cool old man.
Yeah.
And he does allow Tron to communicate with Bruce Boxlight.
Yes.
Alan.
Alan
Yes,
1. That's his name. And that's when he gets basically a virus, from what I could tell, downloaded into his info disk so that he now has the means to
blow up the alien ship.
Yes.
Yeah, to slay the MCP.
MCP, yes. The Master Control Trogram. The Master Control Trogdor. Yes, the MCT.
Trying to figure out who's the main character of this. Is it Flynn or is it Tron? Because
it's Flynn.
This is almost like a second-person story.
Well, it's kind of like the 1989 Batman could have been called Joker.
Yes.
That was like halfway through the rewatching this movie in the past week, I realized like, oh, Flynn is borderline a secondary character.
Yeah.
Like, it's Tron is almost the main character, but not like there's a slight balance in the face of in terms of Flynn, just because he's theoretically a real person.
Right. It would be tough to decide who'd get the best actor nomination, who'd get the best supporting actor. If it
he's a deuteragonist.
I don't know what that fucking word means, but you keep
that
your
means
book learning.
there are
you keep your book learning over there, motherfucker.
That means there are two protagonists.
Oh, okay, deuteragonist.
Yeah.
All right. So what happens next? They realize they got to go kill the Master Control Program.
So they get onto the Solar Sailor, which
right.
we
I
talked
thought
about.
It hadn't been destroyed yet. Oh man, I'm lost.
We flipped up to the Solar Sailor before because Yori and Tron went to the Solar Sailor before they went to Dumont, but then we went on that whole rant about the music.
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then I fucked up and I said, "Oh yeah," and then Sark comes in and destroys, and then we went back to the beginning. It's one of these movies. It's circular. It goes round in circles.
I can edit this all in post to make it.
Don't worry about it.
You do what you got to do.
Plus, also, this is the point where they meet back up with Flynn. Like Flynn's been separated from him for a while, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's somewhere in here.
But then he's just hanging on the side of the Solar Sailor.
Yes, that's right.
And he almost falls off.
Because he was red for a hot minute.
And then Tron lifts him up like one-handed, just whoop.
Yeah.
Because Tron's badass. Fucking movie's named after him.
Well, he's got the virus on his disc and made him super strong so he could fight Sark, too.
Yeah. So they get
basically,
we
can cut to that point, right?
What'd you say?
Basically, we can cut to the point where Sark and Tron fight.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, because Sark's on the ship with Flynn and Yori, and he's like, I'm going to fucking kill you guys, but I'm taking this old guy with me because the MCP is going to take his knowledge and incorporate it like a Borg.
Yeah.
He's going to assimilate. Resistance is futile.
We've also skipped over that the MCP keeps showing his power over Sark by basically torturing him and making him bend to his will.
Zaps.
Yeah.
Let's see. So then we get to All right, so we get to the confrontation with the MCP, which is like a digital version of the Necronomicon.
Yeah, this was one of the effects that I was kind of disappointed in. I thought the MCP looked kind of just unimpressive, I guess, compared to all the other visuals in the movie. He's just basically a cylinder with eyes, from what I recall.
I think it was pretty cool, but your opinion is valid.
Oh, that's the first time you've ever admitted that. Thank you.
That's true. Again, I'm going back to partially the pop-up book.
Okay.
Like,
this is how Josh remembers Tron, apparently.
Honestly,
Via the pop-up book.
I spent a lot more time staring at the pop-up book than I did watching the movie.
To be fair, my memories of The Hobbit are 90% from that record that we talked about earlier, the 45.
Yeah. So, Tron goes to defeat the MCP, and then Sark becomes a giant.
I forgot. Yeah, he does. He Ant-Mans it up.
Yes, he absolutely Ant-Mans it up.
I love the noises that, like, every time he moves, it's like, vroom, vroom, vroom. Good stuff.
Before that happened, though, there was a pretty good disc fight between Sark and Tron.
That's true. Yeah.
I actually liked that fight quite a bit. The discs, it's cool effects, and I don't know. I like the character of Tron. He's a program. He's not as funny and cool as Flynn, but he's just he's a RoboCop like badass that is capable.
Yeah. Apparently they hired an actual Frisbee champion to coach all the actors.
I believe my quote to my wife we were watching it was, "That guy can be."
He
that guy in a
snagged the
froth
bee,
game.
man.
Yes. Also, while Sark is fighting Tron, from above, they are, I guess, on the rapidly decaying solar sailor. Mm-hmm. Flynn and what's the lady's name? Yori are watching on. Flynn decides he has to go help, and they have a little user to program face sucking session.
Yeah. That's something that's important, I think, to mention. I don't know. Flynn is a computerosexual? I don't know.
I mean, he didn't have sex, so but yeah, I don't know, they made out. That's all I know.
Yeah, they certainly did.
Before Flynn jumped out into the maelstrom of the MCP.
Okay, so what okay, so then
I don't know, like all this
So
the ending is
Flynn
like
jumps in while so he goes in, he jumps in, and he holds on to the MCP long enough for Tron to throw the disc into the center.
To disc it.
Yeah, and Tron has defeated Sark at this point.
Well, he defeated Sark, but he's still fighting Giant Sark, but he sees like, holy shit, that's open. I'm shooting this disc at that shit. And then, MCP gone. Sark just de-reses right in front of everybody, all 5 billion feet of them, or however tiny that would be inside the computer. And then Flynn gets shot up well, I don't want to say it because this seems to be a Disney movie, so it's a family-friendly episode. But he gets shot out.
Like the Little Death. How about that?
Yes, I like that.
Are you guys talking
I have
about
no
cum?
idea what you're referring to. What? Dude, I don't ever talk about stuff. You ever hear me talk about stuff like that?
Guys, we can talk about cum.
When you blow your
can
load.
In fact, we're going to have a Patreon-only episode where we only talk about cum.
Oh, God.
Oh, am I a guest on that one?
Yeah, who the fuck else will be a guest on
Yeah, who the fuck else?
I'm not going to sit here and just talk about cum with Josh, just the two of us. That'd be weird.
I'll eat plenty of celery, my friend. Plenty of celery.
We're going to get you. We're going to get Matt. We're going to get Mike. We'll get anybody else who is interested.
Dude, Matt and Mike. Now, is Matt going to be here on my lap?
I'm sure. I mean, you're...
that's good stuff.
Look,
I'll eat a lot of celery.
I'm
going to eat it with Matt.
You're what, 30 miles away from him? Well, I'll leave that to you to figure out.
Oh, I'm 30 minutes away from him. Yeah.
I'm afraid we're getting stuck in a cum hole, and we need to crawl out of this thing.
Well, Flynn is about to get shot out laser-like, but before we see that happen, what happens? Dumont... the MCP spins out of control and blows up, and for some reason, tires are part of that. Did anybody notice the tires are part of that?
They bounce away, yeah.
Really quick, and I'm sorry to backtrack this because I noticed tires I didn't bring up. Mickey Mouse is on the ground of the grid as the Solar Sailor goes over during.
I missed the Mickey. I saw the Pac-Man.
Watch the Solar Sailor scene again. The Pac-Man's great, but the Mickey Mouse.
You might have blinked at the moment that.
Yeah, just watch the Solar Sailor scene. You'll find it. He's on the ground.
Okay.
So MCP spins out of control, blows up. Everybody gets away though, and then Dumont says, "Come, my young whatevers," and the IO towers are lighting up again, and there's nice, pretty music. Da, 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 da. And then all the red becomes blue, and then blue somehow becomes red because why the fuck not? And and then we get back. And then Yuri kisses Tron, and he looks at her like, "Oh, that was nice." And she's like, "Yeah, I just learned it from that guy that made us."
Yeah, I feel like Flynn is just like teaching Yuri, like, "Hey, you guys should fuck down here. So here's how you get started. Just let nature take over."
I'm starting to have thoughts about the second movie now.
But yeah, and then Flynn, how does Flynn get out? He just gets out because he was yeeted.
The laser fires again, and it is an exact reverse of the sequence of the first de-resing.
Yeah, they did not refilm anything there.
Yeah. And that's a thing that indicates it's been like less than a second since the beginning of Flynn getting de-res, because the chair is still tilted.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Huh.
Yeah, so he gets out, and there is an exciting printout that says, user Dillinger annexed program space paranoids from...
Can I do an impression?
Oh, please
when
do.
He goes to run down those stairs, that woo! Ha ha ha! Is just so badass.
It's pretty good, yeah.
I thought it was hilarious that all the proof he required was a printout saying...
Yeah.
Like a 5 lines.
Dot matrix printer.
Like, bro, you could have just done that at Kinko's.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the proof. It was somewhere in that memory that he had to go and find it.
But
so anyway, Flynn ends up in control of Encom?
Yeah, it like cuts to
like
time
the next
in the
morning.
future.
It's like
Yeah.
It's like the next morning or some shit like that. It's like, try to look professional. Here comes the boss. And she's like wearing the most early 80s outfit ever.
Yeah.
Doesn't he land in a
really
helicopter and he's in a suit now all of a sudden?
Yeah. And he says, "Greetings, programs."
Yeah.
Which is like his catchphrase. It's his catchphrase.
Oh, man. And that's it, right? That's the movie?
That's pretty much it.
Oh, yeah, but then you get that beautiful, like, light show of the city, like the traffic speeding up with that gorgeous scherzo for Tron. It's called Scherzo for Tron. It's fucking beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's this beautiful piece of music with this, like, just, it's like, and even Debbie pointed out when we watched it the other night, the helicopter Dillinger shows up in the beginning, has like the lights going to like.
I loved that. The
right?
Dillinger's helicopter with the red. It's like a red outline. It looked so cool. I love that a lot.
It's to show that he's the bad guy.
Yeah, black and red. That means bad.
Anyway, short version, 10 out of 10. Tron fucking honks.
Yeah, we got through it. We're 2 hours. Just under 2 hours. Okay, we've got to do the usual things we do too. We got to rate this motherfucker because, well, that's what we decided we were going to do at one point, and that's what we do now.
Apparently.
So, I don't know how I'm going to write this down. I don't have room for a scratch paper. Right. First of all, what do we think of the story of Tron? Okay, Sean, if you haven't heard us do this before, I think you have, but if not...
I just did earlier.
We have 4 categories: story, influence, prescience, and style. And then we kind of average them out to get a total HTLL rating. And then at the end of it, we do a 1 to 5 hand raisers just to see just how much we liked it.
Yeah.
So as far as story, This isn't a dog on the movie, but I do think of the 4 categories. Story was its least impressive, I guess, because it's just a pretty standard hero's journey story, really, when you get right down to it. So I was thinking probably 7. But what do you guys think?
I'm gonna go actually like 8.5, because while you say it is pretty much the standard hero's journey, the fact that it's slightly confusing in that there's a deuteragonist, because Flynn, for a good portion of the movie, is kind of not the hero. And then for a good portion of the movie, Tron is not the hero. I mean,
I agree, but I still don't think that really sets it too far apart. I don't know. What do you think, Sean?
I'm going to go with Josh as well with the 8.5, but
well, just fuck me then, right, guys? All right.
Yeah, I mean, that's on the Patreon episode. I'll be doing that. Thank you very much. I'm going to go with the 8.5.
To set up a new level for that one.
Just because I need the expenses.
$10 a month, Eric gets penetrated.
And that's where that's going to happen while we commentate over the movie Sleepers. So,
oh shit!
It's going to be 8.5. I get to be Kevin Bacon, by the way, but you do not get to have revenge on me. Anyway, 8.5. But I'm also going from a 7-year-old's brain that it's one of those movies that I cannot watch and still
At
not
the $15
feel...
level, we turn it into Mystic River.
No,
I think Sleepers is a lot more fucked up than Mystic River.
I do want to say I think that's a good point, Sean. That you're rating from a 7-year-old's brain.
I am.
Josh probably is too, and I'm coming from a 43-year-old's brain.
You've seen it like so many other times where like this is one of the earlier examples to us besides Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. I agree. Let's talk about influence then. I think the influences of Tron are subtle but definitely out there. Even though this movie kind of bombed at the box office and was more popular for its video games than for its actual film, I think it weaved its way into the psyche of the films.
You know, it actually did okay at the box office. I think it made somewhere slightly short of $50 million.
IMDb told me it was a bomb. IMDb.
Yeah, and cost something like $17 million. So it wasn't like a huge hit, but I think it actually it's one of those things that, I don't know, Hollywood accounting doesn't actually make sense. It's recorded as a bomb, but then so is almost literally everything. In the summer of 1982, this thing opened against fucking Blade Runner, The Thing.
Oh man, what a great weekend to go into the movies.
Yeah, there is. Fuck, I don't remember where I saw it, but this thing was initially supposed to open the end of 82, like winter, and then they got scared off and decided to open it in like June, or like the end of June, beginning of July. So it was against the greatest year of cinema ever. It was like fucking this, The Thing, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
No, Raiders was 81.
Runner. Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, it was a psychotic, it was an utterly psychotic opening summer.
Well, it would be, Stallone First Blood. Yeah, Poltergeist.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, Poltergeist, I think maybe.
Just looking Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
E.T. E-fucking-T.
That's what, yeah, okay.
The aforementioned Conan the Barbarian.
Jesus Christ.
Wow,
Yeah,
so
what a
Prom
year.
was in 2 1982 movies.
Secret of Nim, that's one I love.
So, yeah, there's effectively
Oh, so the
no
Beastmaster
chance.
also came out. In
Beastmaster,
82.
yeah. Rocky 3. Yeah, what a year.
Yeah, there is effectively no chance that any of those movies is anything other than a bomb.
Wrath of
They're
Khan.
all cannibalizing.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh, fuck. Is that Cyberpunk?
No.
Close. It's close because there is the pizza scene, and then there's the dream scene on the beach, which is clearly on a television.
That's true.
A television. Cyberpunk is television.
Sure.
I don't think that's
absolutely.
gonna count it.
No.
Let's keep going. So my rating for influence, I'm gonna give it an 8. I think.
I think it absolutely gets a 9 for how I picture the insides of computers working.
All right. Fair.
What, the little doozers running around, like, building the inside of the computer while the Fraggles eat their buildings?
Okay, if I just shake it up, they're all going crazy in there.
Exactly.
That's exactly right. I am not a CS major.
Clearly.
Actually, I'm going to go with 10, but that's also, once again, I'm coming from that 7-year-old brain, but I'm also remembering what this movie did. Like RAM, the term RAM came from this movie. Bit
did it really?
came from this movie, yeah. So the
Holy
uses
shit.
of some of the words, the words in technology came from this movie. And then just like, even if you want to go special effects, like then we got The Last Starfighter, and then just it kept building from there and building from there. So it was groundbreaking on a lot of levels, and it was very influential as far as what could be done with computer special effects.
Oh,
You
actually,
guys make compelling arguments, but mine is
Fair.
locked in and unchangeable.
That's okay.
I might actually go with 10 simply for the computer generated effects.
And also to agree with me.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sticking with my guns.
Fair.
For no
And
other reason
that's why you're
than
the one that
blind
gets
stubbornness.
penetrated on a Patreon episode.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to prescience, like their predictions of the future of where computers would go. Did this movie, like outside of the computer, did it take place in the future? It was hard to tell.
No, I think it was exactly 1981, 1982.
Okay. In that case, it's kind of hard to really give it a prescience rating.
NA? How about that?
No, I gotta say, because there's the whole thing that Walter says earlier about, how one of these days people are just going to let the computers do the thinking for them.
Absolutely.
And how computers have taken things. So like the MCP did win. Like computers have taken over everything. So you can't say like, oh, well, I don't know. Yeah, you do, because look at the world around you. Everything. What's your phone? It's a fucking computer with telephone capabilities. It's not a phone.
And there's little men in it, and when I shake it up, they all go.
Dude, I just made
It's
a
like
bunch
the
of dudes like
bridge of
angry
the
at
Star
me.
Trek Enterprise.
When I plug it into charge, they're all sucking at that fucking spring.
Yeah, man. See? So 10.
All right. Well, I don't know about 10.
10 out of 5.
So,
Wait,
what?
that doesn't work, does it? Wait. I'm
10
gonna
out
go
of
with
5.
I'm gonna go with 9 out of 47 and a third. No, it's 9. Just 9 out of 10.
Okay, I'll give 9. I'll give it a 9. You've convinced me. Josh,
Okay.
same?
Yeah, Sean sold me.
He did. He made a good case.
Yeah.
Lastly,
It's either
this
NA
is-
or 9.
this is going to be my 10. Style is a 10 out of 10.
Oh,
for
fuck
Tron.
yeah. Yeah, as I said, this
And-
movie fucks, honks, and slaps.
Sure. It's like 80s style, but it's absolutely a style all its own. It's been imitated. Obviously, we just found Automaton or whatever the hell that show's called.
Automan.
And 10 for me, 10 for Josh. Sean, I'm guessing.
I mean, dude, just for Kevin Flynn's jacket in the real world alone, I'm giving it a 10.
Absolutely. I would actually love to
Yes.
get a Flynn's arcade T-shirt too. I would rock that.
That
No,
would
you
be
can get
very
one.
cool.
You can get one.
I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
All right, so now you guys talk while I do math.
Okay, first, my hand raiser rating is fucking 10 out of 5.
That's not how this works. Please
It is-
stick to the fucking script.
Fuck you. Okay, so it's 5 out of 5.
Okay, that's fair.
What do you think, Sean? Like, just out of 5, how much do you like this movie?
Out of 5? 5.
Yeah. Yeah, it fucks, honk, and slaps.
5. Wait,
I mean-
well, let's see. If you got fucks, honks, 15 out of 5, because I want to give
Yeah.
a 5 to each of those.
Okay, guys. We've set up rules here. There are rules.
Okay.
This isn't the Nam Walter.
I'm going to be giving you the same speech about rules, because I don't know what it was like for you Hell's Kitchen boys, but when I was growing up, there were rules, and if we didn't follow them, then there were consequences. Turn around.
Jesus Christ.
Eric, face the wall.
I'm still doing math. I'm sorry.
Oh.
These ratings don't matter, but I still like to do them. And
What
have a
does it
record of them.
matter?
Yeah, it's
What
fun.
does it matter? That sounds familiar. It's like tickles something in my brain of a different time.
Probably the back of your tonsils through your rectum.
Adding math.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Sean had a podcast called...
And it's coming back soon this year.
Oh, that's
I'm excited!
All right.
I have to record it.
I like to leave room for improvement, so I'm going to go 4.5 hand raisers. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't grow up with it like you. I don't have the deep ingrained love, but I did really enjoy my watching experience last night. So I look forward to the sequel at some point as well.
Please, I hope you like it, and Josh, I hope you enjoy it this time.
Yeah,
instead of it just being a movie.
I do too. I don't know. I think part of it's that I simply don't find Olivia Wilde to be a compelling screen presence.
Oh, but in that, come on, man.
mean, you know, at that point, I'd had 3 years of her on House, so I was kind of done with her shit.
Oh, fair, but I think that was my intro to her because I didn't watch House.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those eyes.
Yeah, maybe after 10 years of not having seen her in anything.
Okay, so this isn't the fucking Olivia Wilde podcast.
Not yet.
Although such a thing probably exists, and I'd recommend checking it out. Maybe it's good. But
and check out Booksmart.
Yeah,
I like
check out
Booksmart.
I haven't
movie.
watched it, but I want to.
Fucking Carrie Fisher's daughter was amazing.
Oh, dude!
In that.
You know they wrote extra scenes for her because of the one scene that she had done.
Understandably, she was fucking great.
Like Olivia Wilde was like, "Billy, hang out. We've got like 5 more scenes for you."
Yeah.
All right, I wanted to give these totals out before we cut to plugs. So, my total score on our 4 categories was 8.5. Josh was 9.3. Sean was 9.375. And then 4.555 on the hand raiser likability score. So if you're keeping track at home, put that into your spreadsheet and suck on it, bitch. Okay. Now, we're getting out of here because I have got
with that part.
I have got to urinate so badly, I'm going to explode.
Okay. Get us on Twitter. I am at H_Collins. Eric is at the frog with a 0. Sean is at... Is it just Sean Faust?
It's just Sean Faust. Actually, no, it's Sean Faust, not just Sean Faust. I can see somebody going, Sean Faust.
Fair
what
enough.
The fuck? Sean Faust. SEANFAUST.
That's correct. Support Sean on Bandcamp. Whatever else he attempts to do in the future, we both buy his Bandcamp stuff.
They do.
Because he's really good.
I am.
Check it out, man.
I am?
Even if he wasn't our friend, I would still be probably buying his stuff. I mean, like, I don't know, maybe that's...
Yeah, if Josh put out a record, I wouldn't buy that.
I certainly wouldn't put out I certainly wouldn't buy Eric's fucking folk bullshit.
That'd be good, though, man. It would be so good.
Would it be like, Sepultura lyrics over folk bullshit?
Yeah, it'd be Sepultura lyrics and
Sure
vocals over acoustic guitar, singer-songwriter, and they'd be super earnest, but it would be Max Cavalera.
Obscured by the sun.
It would be good.
I'm so tired. I'm just tired.
Tired of falling in love.
I am at the frog with a 0 on Twitter. Josh is at Ace_Collins. And Sean, you're just at Sean? Did we do this already?
Yeah, I literally did this.
I was writing down editing
ago.
notes.
I was wondering why you were going. Were you going to do the whole thing?
I don't know, man.
Okay. Anyway, thank you.
Is the theme song playing right now? Or should we go?
Thank you, Sean, for coming on our show. It was nice to talk to you again for the first time since I saw you in September,
which was awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I love you. And
I love you, and I love both of you very much. I love getting to do this.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, yeah, it's great.
Everybody, follow us on TikTok, High Tech Low Life PO. Check out our YouTube. I must plug. Sorry, I guess.
Where are we going from there?
We went from dumping love on Sean to shameless plugging of social media, and I guess from there you should leave.
Hey everybody, it's your editor again. You may have noticed we did not take a break this week. We're going to push that break to next week, and when we come back from break, we're going to be covering Count Zero, the second book in William Gibson's Sprawl trilogy. So, it's a biggie. Please join us. And we'll see you then. I love you. Bye.
I guess we do. What's a thing from this movie that I should say?
I got
one. Mine's gotta be, it's a big door.
That is a big fucking door.
End of line.
End of line. Good one, Sean. Bye.
Peace.
This has been the High Tech Low Life podcast. Find us on Twitter at Johnny60seconds. Email us at hightechlowlifepodcast@gmail.com. And find us on Patreon at patreon.com/hightechlowlife. Theme music provided by Nia Lore at nialore.com. Thank you for listening.
Excuse me, Robo. Any special message for all the kids watching at home?
Stay out of trouble.
I'm still here. I'm just gonna hang out and jerk off, maybe. Talk to you guys about. Yeah, I'm just talking. Yeah, and I'm talking. Whoa, yeah, and I'm talking. Lapa-loopa-lippa-loopa-doop-ba-ski-lee-bop. Oh, and I'm talking. Yeah, and I'm talking. Yeah, I'm talking. Ski-loo-loo-loo-lee-ba-ski-lee-bop. Ski-ba-da-ba-doop-bum-be-lee-da-loo-da-lee-loo-bum-be-lee-loo-wee-wee-loo-loo-doom fuck-poop-a-doop-a-doop-boom-bop. Bop-a-dop-doom-bop. Dee-dee-bop-bop-doom-bop. Bop-bop-doom-bop. Whoa, yeah, doom-bop. Bop-bop-doom-bop. Dee-dee-dee-bop-doom-bop. Bop-bop-boom-bop. Whoa, yeah, doom-bop. Bop-bop-doom-bop. Dee-dee-bop-bop-doom-bop. Bop-bop-doom-bop. Whoa, yeah, Boba Fett. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Boba Fett. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, Boba Fett. I'm gonna wear my throat out. That is pretty stupid of me. Boom, 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 boom. Walk like a man. Talk like a man. Walk like a man, my son. Anyway, I'm gonna take a piss and get some water. Poop farts.